Hello again, Star Wars and unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. And I'm here to report some major news. Well, at least it's major news for me. The major news is that Hasbro is producing bootlegs. You heard me. They're producing bootleg figures. And what I mean by a bootleg, I'm referring to when anytime from the vintage time back in the 70s and 80s, there were always some less than reputable companies, usually in foreign countries, that were trying to create, they may have gotten a hold of molds, or maybe they made their own molds from figures that they purchased, and they made their own molds and would create cheap knockoffs of the figures using knockoff plastic, cheaper paints, cheaper everything. And they would put together these knockoffs, and they would call them like Star Warriors. Sometimes they would just take the name Star Wars right away and do it. And it was, kind of a fun, interesting thing. And it was nice for the people back in the day, for kids who maybe couldn't get to a local, or couldn't afford a local, go to the local Toys R Us or toy store to buy the more expensive regular figures. So they were able to find these bootleg figures and be able to have their Star Wars adventures. Nowadays, those bootleg figures have been very highly sought after. In fact, I've even collected a few over the years. I'll throw a few photos in here just so you can see what they kind of look like. And as you can see, they're generally speaking very, sometimes they're in different sizes. Sometimes they're blown up a little bit bigger, a little smaller. But they generally are far lesser quality. The paint schemes are bad, things of that nature. But they are kind of fun and a kind of a nostalgic trip these days to track them down. In fact, sometimes the bootlegs can be highly sought after. So, and that wasn't just, we're not just talking about the vintage, 70s and 80s. I mean, this continued into the 90s, into episode 1, as you can see, and a lot of other things. So, bootlegs have been around for a very long time. What I was not aware of until watching a channel called Spectre Creative, which is a great channel on YouTube, is a former Mattel employee and a toy designer who was also an avid Star Wars collector, and he has some great Star Wars content. But he was saying that places like Five Below, if you've ever been to Five Below, it's like a dollar store, but $5 store. And they have often been selling, unsold Star Wars merchandise. Like, let's say there's a line of figures or certain characters from anything from the vintage collection to the Last Jedi, to Resistance, to Solo, anything that has had less than stellar sales that they end up getting sold off to these discount stores, and they kind of sell them off. Well, I've actually been able to find some great deals doing that and find some great troop building idea, things like that nature. But the other day, about a month ago, really, I went to a Five Below, and I always do a little check to see what they have. And I found these 3 figures, okay? They were in interesting boxes like this. Now, I've had a quick, brief stint of this on an earlier episode, but I wanted to go into more detail. And I looked at them and I said, this is, the box is nice, it's kind of a nice little thing. It's a little different than the carded action figure, but I thought, are these exactly the same? Are they the same figures as Black Series figures? These are 6-inch figures, okay? Are they the same? So what I decided to do, okay, was, I said, if only I had a, Black Series counterpart for each of those. Well, it turns out I do. I have Rey. Here's Rey right here. This is the Black Series Rey, the $20 Rey that I picked up. Same exact figure, I think. You know what? Actually, this might be a little different. No, I think it's meant to be the same character, the same time slot. Then we have Kylo Ren here. And then we have from Solo, A Star Wars Story, we have the young Han Solo. Okay? So here are the figures from the Black Series line. And here are the figures from the Five Below discount version. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open them up. I have already opened them up briefly, but I'm going to do a full out, take them out, or at least take them out of like this. I think I might leave them on their cards right now, just because I think this is kind of an interesting thing. I'll keep them back in there. So let's take a look at them one at a time, okay? So in looking at these two, you can clearly see some major differences. First off, the head. Okay, we got the photorealistic sculpt on the face. Okay, and here we just have a painted face. It's not a bad job. It's okay. Okay, but it's just not the same. Now you also will notice that, but the bigger thing you'll see is Han has his. He does have the blaster, but look at his arms. We have multiple points of articulation, and here it's just 5 points. All right, well he's kind of tied up by the the twisties in the back here, but yeah, he's 5 POA. He's a 5 POA. Oh, 6. He's got a waist turn. Okay, so that's essentially it. Whereas this guy's got he's got the ankles and the shins and everything. So he's a full out figure. But still, when you consider the fact, I mean, I'm actually blown away at this. Hasbro literally makes their own bootlegs. I mean, in some ways, I'm a little disappointed, and in other ways, I'm immensely impressed. Like they came out and said, all these bootleggers are doing it. Why don't we just do it ourselves? We have the license to do it. It doesn't matter how we make it. So why don't we make a $20 figure and a $5 figure? And a kid who wants to play with a figure, I don't know if they're going to care that much about the points of articulation or how detailed the jacket is. Okay, and you can see here, like his jacket also kind of has a little bit of looseness there, and he has an upper chest kind of mobility. This one, the jacket is pretty much molded right to the chest. So that's a pretty cool thing. His blaster looks to be roughly the same. The plastic might be a little bit different, but his holster does not look like it works. It's just a molded holster. You can't put the gun in here, whereas Han's holster, you can actually stick the blaster in. So those are the major differences. And there's a little bit of a different color paint scheme. But as you can see, it's a knockoff. It's a $5 knockoff of the Han Solo Black Series figure, and it's hysterical. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now we've got the Rey figure. And again, I'm not going to take them out of these inserts. I'm going to put it back in the box. Because I just like the box. I just like the look of it. And I already have a loose figure. And although it is technically unboxed, and I did have to cut the tape, but I really don't think these are going to be running any serious amount of money like later on the secondary market. So first off, right out of the bat, you can see that this one comes with the this is, I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like it's the same Last Jedi figure. Okay. However, this one does not come with the saber. It only, I think the Black Series might actually come with the saber. It's just that I might have left the saber in the original box. Whenever the character comes with multiple weapons that they can't always hold, I will often keep one of the weapons in the box and keep the box. Okay, but in the case of Rey, I can't remember if she actually has the saber or if that saber is not included with that set or not. Now, of course, this Rey version, it does include the saber, okay, but it does not include the staff, okay? So I guess, same price idea, that kind of thing. And of course, you can see right away the 5 points of articulation. It doesn't even have I don't know if it, no, it does, the waist does turn, so 6 points, okay? But not really much else there. Again, you can see in the paint scheme. Now, I will say that this Rey was this figure came before the Han Solo, so this figure literally does not have the face sculpt. But what it does have is a cleaner face look to the $5 Rey. Okay, a little bit cleaner. But on some ways, I like the color of the Rey. It's a little more tan, a little more peach tannish color in the 5-1. So in some ways, I like that better. But as you can see, the paint scheme here is basically one color for the whole dress, the whole arm thing, shoulders, and they have the belt that, again, it's all just molded, no holsters, no anything. This Rey, it has literal, flowing vinyl pieces here along with the shorts, kind of the capri short type thing, and the bare legs. This one, you can see the shorts and the legs are all molded together, so it's almost like a vintage figure. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, guess what? This one doesn't even have, the legs don't even move. The legs are completely, it's just the waist and the arms and the head. The entire lower half of this Rey is completely immobile. It's basically a statue. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. All right. But yeah, it's a knockoff. It is a complete 100% cheap knockoff. It's crazy. And Hasbro's doing it. So hysterical. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one clearly, without fail, shows a major difference. Not only is this one, I mean, first of all, look at the Black Series one. You've got a serious, like, you've got the cloth goods, you've got the vinyl goods underneath, you've got the full articulation, you've got the hood that comes off if you want. Of course, he comes with his weapon, and it is just a, you know, a beautiful, beautiful figure. Okay, so this is what you're dealing with for The Force Awakens. Now, here, where to begin? I would say that of the three figures, this one is the most absolute, like, knockoffiest knockoff. His hood is, his head doesn't turn, his waist turns, and his arms go up and down. He's got a 3-point articulation. Han Solo had 5, or 6 really. Rey had 1, 2, 3, 4, and he has 3. His legs are completely welded together. Unbelievable. Okay. You can also tell even looking at his saber compared to this one. It's hard to see because it's got the red background, but his saber is already bending. So I don't even know if that thing will last. Unbelievable. Just and listen, I don't mistake my reaction for negativity. I'm not. Look, I have it. There's a $20 figure. Okay. And here's a $5 figure, and this is worth $5. Okay, so I'm happy to have both, to be honest with you. I want to also point out that of the 3 figures, look at the size difference here. I'm measuring up, my thumb is the base here. Look at that. I mean, even like comparing, let me bring out like the Han Solo figure. You can tell, you know, the Han Solo figure, they are a little smaller, but not, you know, this one seems to be the most, where they, you know, there's just a, look at that. It's like almost a full head length. Crazy. It's a crazy difference. I mean, I'm going to, you know, hold up Rey here, and, you know, it looks like Rey is even a little bit taller than Kylo here. So it's a challenge. So I think they kind of missed the mark a little bit with Kylo Ren. I did notice the Force Awakens box. Okay, so I think they've been doing this for a while. This came out in 2015, so 2015, 2017, 2018, you know, that's crazy. That is absolutely insane to me that they had that. Unbelievable. So there you have it, folks. 3 different films, 3 different box art, and 3 different bootleg, I don't want to say bootleg, but 3 different cheaply made figures that were meant to be kind of a cheaper version or a bootleg style version of the 3 original Black Series figures. I'm honest with you, I'm here for this. I think this is fantastic. I would love to continue to see more. I do believe I've seen online, somebody had a Captain Phasma. I think it was a Force Awakens box, Captain Phasma. Has anybody seen any other ones? They're in boxes like this. Check out your local Five Below. See if you have any other ones besides the Last Jedi Rey, the Solo, and the Force Awakens Kylo Ren, and I do believe there's a Force Awakens Captain Phasma out there. If you have more, you know, hunts, you know, evidence in the wild of seeing these, I've been going back to my local Five Below every couple of weeks. Seems like they have the same figures. They haven't really gotten anything new. So I'm just I'm very dumbfounded. I'm not upset about it. I'm here for it. I just think it's like, but it's just so funny to buy licensed bootlegs, which is an oxymoron. I know, it's like, doesn't make sense. There can't be such a thing. It's licensed. These are licensed. These are okay. It's kind of like the Black Series version of when they were doing, you know, the 5 POA action figures where they were selling 2 in a pack. The Mission series, Rebels did it that way. In fact, can you even get a better version of a Rebels figure? Maybe that may be on the vintage collection, but just so interesting that they came up with these. And I'm liking them. I think it's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if I want to have a whole, like, you know, 100-piece collection of them, but it is kind of cool that they offer them. I think it's a neat idea for people that want to get into Star Wars but don't have the money to go spending 20 bucks on a figure. All right, so, and then, you know, obviously this is not, I think this is something that also exists with Marvel and DC and other things. Anything Hasbro is making, so pretty cool. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe some people are really against this. Maybe people think that this devalues the Black Series figures. I don't know how true that is. I mean, you know, the figures always have there's a monetary value to figures, but when you put these figures aside next to these figures, you clearly see the differences. When you put these figures in their boxes next to these figures, you clearly see a difference. So I don't believe that they're trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. At first, I will say the Han Solo figures threw me, because just in the box, I did think that this was a full-out Black Series figure when I first picked it up. But then, you know, with a more discerning eye, you started to see the differences, especially when you can line them up next to each other. So, anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Check out all my other videos on YouTube, and if you want to support the channel, check out my TeePublic store. In the storefront link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force and the toys, whether regular toys or licensed bootlegs, may the toys be with you.